This episode brought to you by Nicholson Realty 2.0, the Gas City Performing Arts Center, Chuck Sewer, Drain and Plumbing.
Welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Ted. It's time to rock and roll. We got another candidate with us this evening, Keith Bennett. Now, before we start, Keith, tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you a homegrown Grant County native or are you a move-in?
Honestly, I'm a move-in. I grew up in Madison County, Delaware County. It's kind of strange to say that I'm a move-in because ever since I've been born, we went to church over here. Mm-hmm. And I went to Bethel Christian Academy, which was Old East Side School on 38th Street across from Marion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I graduated from Westdale in 1990, and I moved over here in 1990, and I've been here ever since. I've raised my kids in Grant County. They went to Eastbrook, and now I have a grandson. Both of my kids still live here in the Grant County area, and my grandkid lives here, and so this is where we call home.
That's good. Mm-hmm. It's a good home.
Yeah.
It's a good place to raise your kids, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it was, and that's and I've known you for quite a while, so you've been here long enough, so you know how everything goes.
Yep.
So what's the biggest thing people are dealing with right now in the county?
The biggest thing people are dealing with now in the county are probably data centers.
Okay.
I mean, the solar has come and gone,
right.
kind of. Mm-hmm. Data centers are the new hot topic.
Right.
Yep. So
that's kind of like, that's the issue you hear the most.
That's correct.
Day to day, that's what's bothering people.
Yeah.
Which we'll touch on that in a few minutes. But so the major thing being discussed is data centers, solar. Is that a positive or a negative company or the county? I'm sorry.
Data centers and solar?
Positive or negative?
Right now, it's a. So I'm going to answer this in a kind of a crazy way.
That's fine.
It's positive that we're talking.
Okay.
Because we got to talk about it. We need to progress as a county. We need to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to make our county better.
Right.
So we need to talk about these things.
Okay.
It's not everything that comes along is the best idea, but I came over here and I drove my car. I didn't ride a horse.
Right.
Because a car was a good invention. Mm-hmm. So, it would be, unfavorable if we didn't say, hey, let's manufacture cars. Mm-hmm. So we need to talk about it. Honestly, from what I have been educating myself on and talking about, solar and data centers right now would not be a good thing for Grant County.
Okay. Yeah. We've kind of heard that before. But what made you decide to run for county council?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a few things. One thing is I'm a Gen Xer, and the baby boomers have done their time, and it's time for our generation to step up and do stuff in our community and stop being lazy. Mm-hmm. We can all talk about, hey, what we like or what we don't like or whatever. But if you're not willing to get in, roll your sleeves up and do the hard work, then, what good is that? So I don't want to be just a member of my community that just talks about what's going on, but I want to be an active part in that. As a business owner, I own Los Amores downtown, as you know. Another hot topic that's going on is the new jail, or do we need a jail, or what are they going to do with the county offices and things of that nature?
Right.
And whether you know or don't know, there's all of the Grant County administration, along with the jail, is housed in downtown Marion. Okay.
Yep.
So there's roughly about 250 Grant County employees that reside and work 1 block from my restaurant.
Right.
And not just my restaurant, but as a District 2 county council seat, I would represent all of the businesses that are downtown.
Okay.
So the north part of Center Township is in the District 2 of the county.
Okay.
So I just want to kind of stop there and make a brief point. I've been out knocking on doors, and I've been in Center Township knocking on doors primarily. And they said, well, I live in the city. I can't vote for the county. And that's not true, because even though you are a member of the city or you live within the city limits of Marion, you still reside in Grant County.
Yes, you're a resident of the county.
Correct. Now, the opposite, so I live in the county, but I can't vote for city politics.
Right. Yes.
So there's a misnomer out there that people that live in the city can't vote for the county, and that's not true. You can vote for county politics because you do live in the county.
Yep.
So, at any rate, I know the mayor's doing a lot of things in the city,
Right.
Positive things.
Right.
There's a lot of changes, a lot of blights coming down. He enacted a river district, and he's building apartment complexes downtown and different things of that nature. However, the mass migration into our downtown hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So, for me as a downtown business, I don't know that they're thinking about this, but I know it's been talked about. Okay, are you trying to take the county administration outside of the city? Is it just the jail? Is it just or is it the whole administration or whatever? So you're talking about 250 employees that patron my restaurant and other restaurants in downtown that breathe life into the downtown. If you take them out, before the river district is developed, that could be a negative.
Right.
It could really hurt downtown businesses. And so I wanted to be involved in that decision process and let's manage that. Let's what's the best idea here? And so I think a lot of these things are going to be decided before I get into office. And I say before I get into office because I believe I'm going to win.
Yep.
Whether they're going to build a new jail or whether they're going to refurbish the D home and, strengthen the current facility and do some alternative there or whatever. I do think that's going to be decided before I get there.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that I should sit on the sidelines and not be active.
True. True.
As a downtown business owner and as a resident of Grant County, I want to be involved. I want to be involved because I want my kids to have a good life. I want my grandkids to have a good life. I don't want them to move away.
Right.
I want them to, hey, you can have a good life here in Grant County, Gas City, Marion, Fairmount, whatever.
Right.
In the county. Grant County is a good place to live.
It is.
So that's what I want to promote, and I want to further our generations here.
Good answer. You're willing to be that voice
I am willing to be that voice
for the community.
That's correct.
Your constituents are, but and that's a great answer. But basically dealing with the financial side of the budgets and taxes, et cetera. That's basically what you will be involved with.
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to be handling complaints like, why'd my taxes go up? How are you going to respond?
So I will respond in saying that as it relates to the new jail and or what they're doing to that, taxes already went up in January 1st. So if people don't know that, now they do. Your taxes have already went up.
Yes, they have. I just got mine the other day.
Correct. Yeah. And so the people say, oh, we don't have the money for that. We don't have the money to, Grant County deserves good things, and our officers deserve good things. Our jail officers deserve good things, and they deserve a safe environment to work in.
Right.
And so that tax is already has been out there. What I want to do is I want to, as a county person, I really like what's going on in Marion. I really like what's going on in Gas City. They're growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't necessarily want to stop that, but at the same time, if they keep annexing county property, we lose revenue.
Yes.
And so we are running out of space. So although I want to help Marion, I want to help Gas City, I have to stand for the county residents. And, we need to figure out what can we do in the county to bring in revenue and to grow as a county right alongside the growth of Marion and Gas City. We don't want to stop them.
Right.
We want to do it with them.
Yeah.
We want to grow with them. We want to say, how can we grow as a county so that we don't put the pressure on our county taxes?
Right.
We want to bring that revenue in. And at this point, what's been offered, in my opinion, is not where we need to be. Solar, data centers, will they bring in a lot of money? Yeah, it would bring in a lot of money. But I think the alternative is worse for our county. That's my opinion.
Okay.
And so what other things can we do? And we have to start looking for the future of that. What else can we do to bring in, we have a lot of distribution centers here. Can we bring in more of that? More hospitals? Can we make this a hub for, some kind of hospital, something for people to come here, honestly, I was going down 69 the other day and I saw a sign that said Buc-ee's 290 some miles away. And it's like, hey, bring a Buc-ee's in. It's 300 miles before the next Buc-ee's. You don't want that.
No.
So why not bring a Buc-ee's in? They have great jobs.
Yep.
They pay well. It's going to bring a lot of people in. They're going to have to stop here. So, we have to think outside of the box like that. That's my opinion.
Right.
And say, hey, what can we do to make things more positive for the county? Again, I don't want to say, we have to stop Gas City, we have to stop Marion. I'm not trying to stop them. I'm trying to grow the county.
Right. Yeah, the county.
And that's what I'm focused on.
Not the individual cities or
That's correct.
towns or
That's correct.
And that's going to be key, I believe. Because actually, I think we've got 3 mayors in the county. The rest, it's town manager or
That's correct.
so. Mayor Goins, Mayor Rock, and Mayor Morrell. I think they work pretty well together.
They do work well together. They do, and the county commissioners have to work well together.
Yes.
I don't know that that's happened. I don't know that that's the case.
Right.
Again, I haven't been elected to a position yet, so I don't know the insides of it.
Yep.
But from an outside perspective, I don't know that that's happened, and I really want to try to see that happen.
So, which departments usually need the most funding?
Departments.
Is it the EMS? Is it the sheriff's department that you would be overseeing?
So I wouldn't oversee specific departments necessarily. I mean, I would oversee the county funds. EMS is it's a thing. The sheriff's department would probably be the biggest,
Okay.
draw on funds. It would be. And, they deserve our full support. All of our sheriff's deputies, our jail officers, they deserve a safe environment to work in. They deserve our full attention and dedication to combat the things that we're looking at in our today's society.
Which is getting worse
Um,
in my eyes.
It is. Yeah. I mean, the fentanyl crisis is out there.
Yep.
Drugs are. It's a thing. And honestly, I've talked to the sheriff, and there's 1,200 warrants that just not being executed because we don't have space.
Yep, for sure.
And so it's a big problem. One of the things that I want to look into, I don't know what jurisdiction I would have over it, but we need to cycle these people through the system faster.
Yep.
I don't know how we can do that, and I honestly don't think that's part of the county council's position.
Right.
But I have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
And we should not be doing 3 and 4 different sessions in court about this. It's like, hey, this is what your infraction is. This is the penalty, and you need to pay it. And by all means, I think our judicial system does not give the deterrence that it needs in today's society.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Oh.
People aren't afraid to break the law.
Oh no.
They're just not. I remember growing up when I seen lights in my rearview mirror, I was scared to death.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? I was shaking. And it seems like people today, they get pulled over and they just want to argue.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wouldn't have dared talk back to a cop.
Oh no.
And now it's like, what's your badge number? I'm going to turn you
yeah.
in. I'm going to file charges, and I'm just like, what is that?
Well, they're recording on their phone.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
So, it's a different ball game for our officers and our jail officers, and, they need protection. They need to be able to work in a safe environment.
Yeah, I agree. And you mentioned that earlier because, every one of us every day, we're risking our lives driving, but look at what law enforcement does. Firefighters, your emergency medical service, those people are heroes. I mean, that's the only way you can look at it. So yeah, they deserve what they deserve, just like our military. Come on, these people, they're protecting our country, but we're going to flip on a ball game and watch somebody that's doing something that they love and getting paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it's not right. But and like you mentioned, the council members do not run the departments, but you just
we fund them.
Kind of control the funding. Yeah,
we do. We do fund them, and we will continue to do that. And I do want to say about the EMS. Okay, Marion is kind of in no man's land. You got Fort Wayne or Indianapolis. Yeah. I mean, we have Marion Health here.
Yep.
It's a really small hospital.
It is.
Yep. And, if you have something tragic, you're a long ways from help.
Yeah.
And so our county EMS provides a great service for us, and we need to invest in our county EMS training because, life and death is a matter of seconds, a matter of minutes. And so that's something that's very important that we need to see just based on our logistics.
Yeah. True. I agree with that. That's, because if, people see, there's five floors at the hospital in Marion, but, it's still small.
Yeah. There's only so much they can do there.
You're sitting on 2 blocks of property, maybe?
That's correct. Yeah.
2 blocks of property. And that's, and you go to these other big cities, it's a campus.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely so.
Yeah, that's something that needs to be done. Now, you mentioned that you've never held an elected office.
That's correct.
You've probably been on church boards or something like that.
I have not.
Okay. But you're jumping in because you see a need. You want to be a voice. And that's impressive. That's everybody's got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, everybody's got to start somewhere. I mean,
it wasn't easy starting a restaurant, was it?
No, I mean, I don't know how much you want to talk about that, but yeah. So, I have a business management degree from Indiana Wesleyan,
Yeah.
so I am educated. But and it was like, okay, what do you want to do? And my wife was working for another business. She was pretty much running the business,
Yep.
and so she just wasn't happy with. She was limited in what she could do because she didn't own the business.
Right.
I said, okay, well, why don't we just try to start our own business? We can do it.
Yep.
And so I put a market analysis together and I did the research and, laid out, how we should do it, what I thought anyways. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it was a new venture for me, but
Right.
You can't be afraid. You just got to go out there and take risks. And, I believe hard work pays and you work hard, and I went from working 40 hours a week to working 80 hours a week.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Most people say, I want to work for myself. Oh, so you want to work double time. But it's been great. We've invested in our city and the city has invested in us.
Yes.
And so it's a two-way street. And we wouldn't have been able to do what we've been able to do without the support of this community. And it's been great.
Right.
And so, yeah.
So there is some experience with budgeting and
That's correct.
managing money. So, which you said you have a degree in that
Yeah,
as well. So
I do.
that's
Yep.
yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's taxpayers' dollars,
It is.
and you're wanting everybody to trust you with their dollars. Okay. And can you give a plug for why you want them to trust you?
I mean, you trust everybody else.
You're right.
I mean, taxpayer dollars, and it's so hard right now because on a national level, there's a push for people not paying their taxes. And you know what?
I've seen that today.
I almost kind of agree with it. It's like, hey, if you're just going to extort my money,
Yeah.
I'm a real guy.
I know.
I don't play no BS, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, hey, you're going to steal my money. Why would I give it to you? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I pay taxes in my payroll. I pay taxes when I go buy stuff.
Yep.
And then by April 15th, it's like, hey, fill out this paperwork and we'll determine by an unwritten set of rules if you've paid enough or not.
Right.
And then maybe we'll charge you more. And it's like, what? We're not just, we don't just have a single, we're double, triple tax.
Oh, for sure.
And so, I understand that. And so it's not whether, your taxes are going to get spent, because your taxes are going to get spent. It's just, are they going to get spent the right way? Or is it going to get spent to benefit you?
Yep.
And one of the things that living in this county for the last 10, 20, 36 years, okay? I mean, I've seen Grant County stay the same for a very long time,
Yeah.
okay? I know that particularly Marion, and I know it's city, but they're in the county, okay? And even Gas City. You can even put Gas City in there. You go through the 70s and 80s, in the 90s, there was very little change.
Right. Yep.
There was still tax dollars rolling in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You go through the 90s, you go through the 2010s, 2020s. But now, over the last 6 years, since 2026, everything that's going on in Gas City and Marion, you're talking, you're seeing with your eyes a visible change.
Yeah.
What's the difference? I think the people that are in leadership are taking the money and putting it back in the community instead of putting it in their pockets or their buddies' pockets.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'm for that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, no, we need to put the money back into the community. We need to put the money. So we getting tax money? Okay, that's fine. We're going to spend it on this area.
Yes.
It's not going to wherever. We're going to spend it here. We're going to build something in Gas City. We're going to build something in Marion. We're going to build something in Grant County.
Right.
And so your tax money is going to get spent.
Yep.
Is it going to get spent in the right way?
Yep.
That's what I'm here for.
Yep. And that's
It's going to get spent.
And there's not enough transparency in that.
There's not. There's not.
I mean, all across the board. Starting at the top, at the federal government down.
I agree. Federal government for sure. But when the transparency, the first level of transparency in my mind is, okay, you can see buildings being tore down, old buildings being tore down,
Yep.
like, new structures going up. That's transparency.
Yes.
Because how else are they doing that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And
Yep.
so it's like, you don't have to tell me, hey, are you spending money? Are tax dollars right? Hey, we got the Performing Arts Center that just got built, or we got the River District in Marion that's
Yep.
just being built.
Yeah.
That's transparency to me.
Yes.
So, I really think that things are going in the right direction here in Grant County. And in other areas too, Fairmount.
Yeah.
I'm all of Grant County, and I'm just using Marion and Gas City
Right.
as a couple of examples. But I think Grant County is leaning in the right direction, and I want to join that. I want to join that, barrage of spending the money back here.
Yes.
Where the people are going to get the benefit of that, because I want my kids and my grandkids to have a good life here.
Yes.
So, they're going to be able to enjoy life here. They don't have to leave and go, to a bigger city or to another city
Right.
or out of state even, to have a good life. They can be like, oh, no, it's great here. Why would I ever leave?
Right. Yeah.
So,
And if I want to visit somewhere, I can go to those other places.
yeah.
Visit for a few days.
Yeah.
But so basically you're saying this position you're running for, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody's experience, but it's the perspective.
That's not true. I think you have to have some kind of experience. You have
Okay.
to have some kind of financial knowledge.
Right.
You have to have some kind of understanding of money and budget and things of that nature. Again, I have a business degree. I've ran a business in downtown Marion. May the 19th, we will celebrate 7 years.
Yeah.
We opened up in the Centrum Mall, the former Centrum Mall,
Yeah.
which is now the Boston Hill Center. Max and Andrea Gorham have done a great job with that building, but it was a basement.
Yes.
In 2018, when we went to start building that out, there was hardly nobody in there except for the homeless.
Really?
There was a bunch of homeless people living in there,
Wow.
sleeping. It was like, and downtown Marion was a ghost town.
Yeah.
Pretty much. No businesses there and stuff. And I got a lot of kickback on why would you
Why?
go there?
Yeah.
Why would
Yep.
you go there? And honestly, my analysis said downtown could sustain a Mexican restaurant. There had been other Mexican restaurants that had been there for years and years,
Right.
and for whatever reason they were gone. And so, out on the bypass, it had been covered, and there's people that were downtown that needed something. And so I wanted to come downtown, and I wanted to try to revitalize the downtown. I have seen videos and pictures and heard stories of people. The building that we're in had the very first escalator in Grant County. It was Hill's Department Store back in the 50s.
Yeah.
And it's still there. It's behind a wall. You can't see it. But there's a lot of history in that building. And we have created a really neat space in the basement of that building. It's really kind of cool. And we're really proud of it. And,
sure.
And it took a lot of financing, a lot of budgeting.
Yep.
When we started out, we had 22 employees. COVID hit, and that was real.
Yeah.
And I know this is not what we're talking about. I have a lot of great stories about how the community came together to help us get through that time. And maybe another, session,
Yep.
we could talk about that. But we were able to make it through the COVID, and we're still going great.
Yep.
We were able to, because the mayor and the city council passed a river district, we were able to obtain a liquor license.
Okay.
Our first 5 years in business, we wasn't able to serve margaritas in a Mexican restaurant.
Wow.
So now we can do that. And so we opened up a cantina. We have live music on Friday and Saturdays. We have karaoke on Thursdays, poetry night on Wednesdays.
Really?
Yeah. So we promote the arts, and downtown Marion is a great place to be. So it's taken a lot of, hey, doing this here, doing this there, paying this. You know, we have employees that live in our community, that raising their families in our community, because, you know, we have created a business that gives them a paycheck to be able to do that.
Right. Yep.
And that's not an easy thing, especially coming from the restaurant side. Most restaurants die in their first year.
Yep.
And so we've been able to, with the help of the community has supported us in a great way. And we have budgeted our money. We pay our employees well. We give them vacation days, and things are going well. And so I feel like I can do that on a county level.
And like you mentioned, little stuff like that, when you might be paying a little bit more to somewhere else or vacation time, little things mean a lot. And,
A lot. Yeah.
You know, and that goes for politics too.
It's true.
I guess I should have, you know, specified that last question, experience and perspective. Experience, I was meeting somebody that's been an elected official before.
I've never been an elected official before.
Right.
You know, a lot of the stuff,
so it
know,
it doesn't have to be that. Yes.
Well, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, you got to educate yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to be making decisions. You know, is solar good? Is data centers good? You got to educate yourself. You got to go out. You got to find out, you know, what's the situation. And so here's a real true story. As a business owner downtown, just this week, I had electricians. They had like electrical power, you know, on their hats. And I said, "Oh, you guys do electrical power?" Yeah, we do that. And I said, "I want to talk to you about the data centers." You know, I was like, "So they consume a lot of power." "Oh, yeah." And I said, "Well, it's my understanding that they can build their own power plant, right? So that if they're building their own power plant, then they wouldn't need to suck off the power from the rest of the people around us, you know?"
Right.
And so, you know, that's one of the things that I wanted to find out. It was like, oh, you know, they need all this power, so there's going to be rolling blackouts. Well, it's like, you know, I'm a man of the people. So it's like, hey, these guys work. This is what they do. So you talk to them.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yeah, we have built power plants for some data centers, but they can't get all the power that they need for that data center through that power plant.
Wow. So
They have to subsidize some power. And I was like, you know, that's good information from guys who actually are in the field working and doing it.
For sure.
And it's like, you know, you can say whatever you want to.
Yep.
I believe the guy that's out there day in and day out building these things, and they know what's going on. And it's like, oh, they can build a power plant, so they don't need your power. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, they can't draw all that they need, so they're still going to suck off of of your city. And so then it's like, okay, well, that's not a good idea.
Right.
And so it's just educating yourself, you know.
And that, you know, there's a famous quote, you know, you learn from what you hear. Whether you're listening to somebody that has the experience or you're hearing what you're reading, what you're researching. So, you know, that's, so I'm assuming, you know, when you're out talking with people, that's probably the biggest thing that's coming up right now.
That is the biggest
data
thing.
set. Okay, we kind of figured that. That's got to be the issue you hear the most that's bothering people.
It is.
Like I said, you know, 2 years ago it was solar.
Yeah.
Now it's data centers. Is it going to be something else in 2 years?
Probably. But you know what? I would do the same thing. I would educate myself.
Yes. And that's,
You know, you got to figure out, okay, and I want things to come to my table. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to not progress.
Yeah.
I want to progress. I want to grow as a county. So I do want things to come in. And so I don't get mad that data centers are trying to come in.
Right.
I'm happy that they're looking at our county.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we need things to come in, but at the same time, okay, what is this? All right. Is this a good fit? What's it going to do to the people?
Yes.
Okay, I see the money that you're willing to throw at me.
Right.
Okay. But what's the alternative?
Yes.
And so if the alternative is worse than the money you're throwing at me because you're going to reduce the lifestyle of the people that live here, I can't do that.
No.
And so, you know, you have to ask those questions, you know, make those decisions and say, okay, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. This is not for us. You know, and if something else comes in, you know, and they can go away and say, hey, Grant County's open. You know, they'll listen to you. And so that's what I want. I don't want to be just like, we won't listen to nobody. We don't want nothing here. You know, you know, I don't want that. I want people to say, hey, Grant County will listen to you. They're open for business.
Right.
And so, you know, maybe not everything is right for Grant County, but I want them to ask us.
Well, and so, like you said, you're happy that people are wanting to look at Grant County, possibly invest, and that's there's probably some other companies that are going to piggyback off of, well, somebody went and looked at Grant County. Should we go look at that for what we might propose?
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I mean, we want to progress.
Yes.
And I'll say this, just in case anybody's wondering, I don't want to progress at the cost of our farmers.
Exactly.
Okay? I don't want to give up farm ground to, definitely not to China. But, you know, our farm ground is priceless. It's really good in Grant County. And so, you know, I want to maintain our farm. I support our farmers wholeheartedly. And, you know, what they want to do and their traditions and, you know, growing food for us. And so I'm a farmer first guy. And so it's got to match up with that as well. And I, you know, so, but do I want to look at it? Yeah. I want companies to say, hey, you know, talk to Grant County. And we might say no.
Right. But
they're talking to us.
There's interest.
We have to look at all the options that we can possibly look at to make life better for our county. To reduce taxes. We don't want to increase taxes. But if we don't do anything, you know, I mean, yeah, I'm not necessarily a politician,
but hey,
you know, I'm just a guy.
Well,
and you know, this could get me in trouble, but you know, I mean, I like electricity. I like cars. You know, those were great inventions. I don't, you know, God bless the Amish. I don't want to live like them.
Right.
You know, we have to keep an eye out for what's going to be good for us. You know, and if that's the way they want to live, that's great.
Right.
And you know, I don't have anything against them.
Exactly.
But I like electricity. You know, I like driving cars, and so there's going to be something else out there, and I don't want Grant County to be left behind in the progress of society.
True.
I really don't. And so we have to look at all options, and we have to figure it out. And you know, if we say no, we say no.
Right.
But to say I don't want to look at it, I think that's the wrong idea.
Yeah. And yeah, we've heard that, you know, comment a few times, and that's just like the solar. Yeah, it would generate a nice income for some of these landowners are willing to sell, but the loss, as you mentioned, of prime farm ground is, you said they're feeding this country. Farmers feed the country, and more rural areas are getting industrialized.
They are. Yeah, they are. And, you know, I don't want it to be China. If America industrializes, you know, then that should bring jobs. You know what I'm saying? that I'm not here to make China better.
Right.
I'm here to make America better. I'm here to make Grant County better.
We start in Grant County.
They start in Grant County.
Yep.
That's
And
right.
Let it go from there.
And let it go from there. And
Yep.
so, that would be my first priority.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just where it's at for me.
And anybody that watches this, you're hearing honesty right here. I can vouch for that. And but that's like the data centers, yeah, it might bring in money, but it's not really bringing in that many jobs.
Yeah, it's not bringing in jobs.
It's going to be high tech jobs.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And still, okay. So high tech jobs doesn't necessarily tech jobs. They can live in California,
Yes,
and do that job.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They're not paying taxes here.
Mm-hmm.
So, we haven't even talked about the water that the data centers use,
Yep.
And so, I mean, that to me, it's a non-issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not something that should be here.
Right.
I mean, unless somebody comes and gives me information and say everything that you heard is misinformation and these are the cold hard facts. I don't want to be so closed-minded that I can't be educated.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's the truth, so this is what I'll say. So I've heard, data centers, they use so much water and they spill out hazardous water and they contaminate the ground. Come on. I mean, do I believe they use a lot of water? I do believe they use a lot of water.
Right.
Do I believe that the EPA in our country is knowingly saying these data centers are just leaking hazardous water out on our grounds at a high rate and just letting them build them everywhere? I don't necessarily believe that.
Yeah.
So, I still don't think they're a good idea right now based on what I know. But I do think there's some false information out there. And so, we just, again, we have to educate ourselves. We have to talk to people. I want to talk to people who live around data centers. How's it really affecting them?
And I was just thinking that. I'm like, some investigative reporter needs to run up there to Fort Wayne and talk to some of these residents around that.
Yeah.
See, what are their thoughts, or is it noisy? Is it, I don't know.
Yeah.
My floors in my home vibrating.
It's true.
I mean, I don't know. That's, if I wasn't having a full-time job, I might just sneak up there and I don't know. After what happened to that lady and getting knocked down in Minnesota the other day, just trying to do an interview and film the location.
It's a crazy world we live in.
It is.
I'm here for it.
That's right.
I'm Gen X, baby.
That's right.
All the way.
But
you might knock us down, but you can't keep us out.
We'll get back up, won't
That's
we?
exactly right.
Might be wobbly, but
Hey,
we can get back up.
We're going to get back
That's
up.
right.
That's right.
But before we end, we'll end with rapid fire. But
Okay.
let people know where they can learn more about you. Facebook or
Yeah, Facebook. Keith Bennett for County Council, District 2. Los Amores, our restaurant page, but Keith Bennett for County Council, District 2 is on Facebook. Keith Bennett, my personal Facebook page. I'm nobody. I'm just another guy in the community. Feel free to message me on, Messenger or whatever, and I'll respond.
Yep.
I want to talk to people. I want to people. We're here together. We're here. It takes all of us to build a community and to make this thing go. And so, hey, I want to know what you know. I don't know it all. And if you know more than me, I want to know what I don't know that you know.
Yep.
And so that's just how I am. I'm just a easygoing guy, and come down, have a cup of coffee with me or whatever, or a Coke or whatever, margarita.
Yeah. And
we'll talk and figure this thing out and figure out how can we move forward to make life better for our families and our grandkids.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, we like to end these sessions with what we call rapid fire.
Okay.
I want to throw something out at you. You just give me whatever pops in your head real quick.
Okay.
Raise taxes or cut spending?
Cut spending.
Okay. Data centers, good or bad for the county?
Bad.
One thing you try to fix immediately if elected, or should I say when elected?
Our budget.
Ooh, good answer.
I mean, they were thinking, hey, we need a new jail. We don't have money. Why?
Yeah,
Why?
find it.
The jail has been built, in the 80s, 90s? Did you not think that you would need another one?
Yeah, just like
Okay,
schools.
I have a car.
Yeah.
It's not going to last me for a whole long time.
Right.
So what do? I keep paying payments off to the side because I know that I'm going to need another car.
Yep.
So I create finances so that down the road when I need a car, I'm going to be able to buy one. So you have to budget.
That's right.
Why are we in the position that we're in? I know it's rapid fire and I kind of went a little bit along there, but it's like, it drives me nuts that it's like, oh, we need this and we're unsafe and we don't have the money. Why? Why?
Good answer. Like you said, you got a budget for the future.
You should.
So, yep, everybody should. That's right.
Exactly right. Rapid fire. Here we go.
That's right. All right, Keith, we appreciate it. We wish you good luck, and hopefully we can have you back.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I'm transparent as ever. I'd come back, talk to you, and if anybody has questions or whatever, and they want to write in or hey, type in the comments, whatever. If you have questions for me, send it in. They'll get them to me, whatever, and I'll respond. Let's make this, something that goes back and forth. And if you want to have me on again, say, hey, we've got a bunch of questions we want you to answer, I'd be glad to come back and do that.
You listeners heard that, so you guys can make comments while you're watching this.
Like this, comment. It takes all of us.
Like, share, and follow. Same thing for his pages, and thanks to all of our sponsors that we have, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks, Keith.
Thank you, Ted.